Douglas Stein, PPE Advantage in Chicago. Now, some of you have seen or read the CNN segment that aired a few Sundays ago that exposed some of the horrid underbelly inside the PPE trade. The segment was only about one criminal company operating in Thailand that stole millions of dollars from two pretty smart and savvy business owners. There are thousands more stories out there left to tell, thousands of victims, companies, and families that were robbed in their efforts to help fix the supply chain that fell apart so drastically throughout the early days of the pandemic. Many with years of experience, many with needs coming from their customers waded into the swamp. Some found success, and some, like me, found a mix of victories, close calls, and epic fails. And many found only massive losses from rampant fraud, scams, criminals, and very organized crime. I suspect that the losses topped the billions in the U.S. alone. And before I lost my LinkedIn privileges, I had hundreds of messages on file with countless victims, all reaching out for support or some desperate call for advice. Some of them I've managed to stay in touch with, but many I've lost contact. I know that recouping the losses is near impossible as a foreign entity in these places. And while countries like Vietnam and Thailand are extremely embarrassed about all that's gone on, they have not done enough to help anyone get justice or retribution for their citizens' actions. Now, some may say that the losses are deserved, that people should have known better or not gotten involved in businesses they had no previous experience in. And you might be able to make a case for that. But I have personally met some very seasoned importers, traders, and large companies that have had decades of experience, eyes and boots on the ground, took plenty of precautions, and still fell victim. No one expected that every link in the chain would become so corrupt so quickly. No one could have reasonably thought that the scams would have evolved as quickly as they did, or that countless nefarious methods could be developed and implemented virtually overnight. People that tried to warn others were brushed off to the side or ignored. They didn't have a big enough audience or platform to be heard, or were getting kicked off those platforms for picking on the scammers. Since the airing of the segment from CNN on Sunday, I've been introduced and invited to join a coalition of importers, wholesalers, and businesses of all sizes across the U.S. that have been impacted by the global frauds perpetrated over the last 2 years. This group is taking aggressive steps for a joint recovery effort and are inviting others to join them. They've garnered the attention of some powerhouse trade groups, congressmen, representatives, senators, attorney generals, FBI, Homeland Security, just to name a few. I know from experience that while working with companies both big and small, it can be a very lonely, scary, and embarrassing place to find yourself a victim of fraud. Many people just don't want to admit it or talk about it with others. Large companies have just taken the hit and moved on. Many people's lives have been forever affected by these losses and experience. Again, the coalition is looking for others that have fallen victim in a significant financial way to PPE fraud over the last 2 years in order to participate in a meaningful way and to work towards a reimbursement and different remedies. If you or someone you know was a victim of PPE fraud in excess of $250,000 US and operate a business or a company in the US, you can drop a DM to Lucas's message box, reach out directly to me at dstein@ppeadvantage.com, or visit the group page on LinkedIn, PPE Fraud Coalition. Look, all this has trickled down and a cause and effect. It has impacted thousands in very negative ways. You don't have to try to fight this on your own. Alone, we can only do so much. Together, we can do so much more. Thanks for listening. Take care. Be safe out there.